Good evening, family. This is Tan John Ujamazo from B1E1T1, and today I felt in my heart to talk to you guys about government assistance. And many brothers and sisters have been mentioning that black women benefit from government assistance, and we run after that government assistance and stuff. And many of them who are talking have no children or have no responsibility whatsoever, so they have not experienced government assistance, and that's a good sign. But in no shape or form do black women run after government assistance or go get it. Okay, we do it because we have no choice, and it was planned for us to go and get it when we was just down on our luck. Let me explain this to you. Black women, men and women, are both under systemic racism, especially when it comes to the wealth gap. And they will be damned if a black woman going to go have a baby and go get a job so she can provide more for her baby and herself, especially if she's a single woman, a single mother. The white supremacists in these job force will be damned if me and several 100,000 single mothers that are black women who had a baby, who have no men in our life, would just go run for welfare. No, they're not going to do that. Go and avoid welfare and go get a job to take care of the family and provide for the family. That's the furthest thing for our minds. Not going to happen. Because, and I'll tell you exactly how stuff starts, but because that's just too much like right. The wealth gap will close, and how dare a black woman outdo a white woman who's laying on her ass getting welfare and milking the system and committing welfare fraud every damn year, and then making us pay for her damn welfare fraud with our tax-paying money, So let me just break this shit down. I just want you guys to hear this because it hit dear to my heart that many of you guys don't even know how government assistance works. You guys think we just go get that and all of a sudden we just free, we just leeching off the system, and you sound like a white supremacist. So I want you to sit down and listen, okay? Many of us who have our babies, before we even have a baby, let's take it all the way back then. Before we even have a baby, we're with you. We the same. We go and get a job. We say the same shit. I'm telling you something. I was you. Okay? People going over here running to go get that welfare. People going over here. See, I had GAA. Please, I don't even like it. They going to try to make me sweep the streets. Nope. I'm going to work. Right? And we kept working. We saved a little bit of money. We did what we had to do. Many of us get into these damn abusive ass relationships. Yes, we do. We do. And the brothers don't show their true color until after maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, and then they true self come out, and you just didn't see that shit coming. You didn't know why, and why is it always your fault? And let's just fast forward everything. You guys can fill in the pieces in between those gaps, and we just talking about the ones who are forced to be single mothers. I'll talk about the ones who are once together, but then after they went and applied for government assistance, they broke it off, and I'll tell you how that shit started. And it has nothing to do with her wanting to go get welfare. It's still pointing the finger at the black woman, and it's not true at all. Okay? And let's talk about the single moms who didn't have a choice but to be single. Many of us didn't want to be single. Okay? But we got this baby. We done had the shit kicked out of us. In and out of the goddamn hospital. Making excuses for our baby father. And then when that baby was brought and you're pregnant, it was like, fuck that. I'm out this relationship. I got a baby on the way. I don't want him killing the baby. I'm out. And there was a lot of women like that. And we got out that goddamn relationship. Okay? But then, again, we thinking after we have the baby, we can go back into doing what we were doing when we didn't have the baby. Get a job. We always kept a job, even though we were being gentrified and not knowing it. We were being gentrified. Okay? These jobs we had, we thought these jobs was going to be permanent. And I'll tell you exactly what they do to us. And you tell me whether that's untrue. I know in the Bay Area, they had that shit bad. They were on cold, these white people were. Okay? You apply for the job. Congratulations. Welcome aboard. You're working with us. You're working with this company, working with that company. And the first thing they tell you that you're on probation. 3-month probation, 6-month probation, 1 year probation. That's how it works, right? But no one ever told us that by the time that probation is over, you're going to get the regular pay, which is the raise for which most people are starting off at as though you were not on probation. So if you were getting paid $11 an hour and you had to sit there and you went to work on time and you worked for 3 months, 6 months, or a year and getting paid $11 an hour, right? And you did real good. You think that you're going to start getting paid $18.01 an hour because that's where you start if you were not on probation at that particular job, or $16.55 an hour or $21 an hour, right? Well, it turns out that is not the case, because once that 3-month probation grace period is over, or the 6-month or the 1 year probation is over, you're already given your pink slip. And it's not one of those pink slips like, well, you get a yellow slip. I take that back. The pink slip is you're terminated. The yellow slip is you're kind of laid off and we don't need you anymore. But you can use this as a reference. That's what that yellow slip is for, right? You can't come back and work. But they don't tell you to their face that, nigger, I'm not paying you what my people get paid, $18.01 an hour, or $17.25 an hour, or $20 an hour, $21 an hour. That's not what we're going to do. You're going to have to find a job somewhere else that's willing to do that. I'm not going to do it. But they don't tell that to you, and you don't know that until later on, when you learn later on that, damn, I got played all these years. I worked all these damn jobs, and people would sit there and brag that, damn, you had all these jobs, and you remind me of the people from Living Colors, the Amon people, the West Indies people. And it's like, that don't really feel good, because you done sat there and you ended up working 2 jobs. And though you didn't care, me, I loved working 2 jobs. I always loved working 2 jobs. I used to work, but as long as there was part-time, I liked it, because I was easily bored if I worked one full-time job and I worked in that same damn job all day. I was bored. So I liked working for 2 jobs. I used to love to work for one job for that first 6 hours and rush out to go work for the other job for 5 hours. So I've always worked, and I always had a little side hustle too. So I was always a side hustle. So a lot of black women and men, youngsters, were that. We were the workers. We were the workaholics. We were not the type to go and rush to go get welfare and shit. We just was not the type to do that. As a matter of fact, a lot of rap songs coming from New York, Stetsasonic and them, they made it. And Big Daddy Kane and them, they made it where we were scared to even touch welfare. We seen our parents get on welfare, and that shit wasn't. My mother couldn't even do shit on welfare. She was trying to go to school to better her education. Now that she's not in the 50s, she could go and better her education because she felt like she had the power to do so. Her and her cousins, they all went together to the community college to better their education so she could read a lot better, because she wanted to become a bartender. She loved music and clubs and serving drinks. My mother loved doing that. And that was just the thing that she liked to do, because she got tired of working for a company. She worked for Complex Apartments, and she was a maintenance. She was a female maintenance. She worked in the laundry department. She loved it. She actually loved working for the laundry department and being a maintenance and making sure stuff was clean and stuff, and make sure people got their clothes out on time so she can lock the door and get up and unlock the door. And and I'll talk about that later. But my mother had to quit that job because she was going through some stuff. It was some weird stuff happening to her. She got, and you guys can put that piece together. She was hired through one of the managers, and one of the managers, brother-in-law and them, they was in the church. They was from the church, and they was in the church, and, they start forming cliques, and they liked my mother. They was getting her, they was trying to turn her into have her go to their church and all this stuff. And then you can guess the rest, and the reason why my mother got out. It was some weird shit happening. She had to get out that motherfucker. She went back to welfare. She went back to welfare. They gave her a lot of problems. As a matter of fact, they made my mother be without welfare for 3 months. For 3 months, my mother was without welfare for 3 months, and You know, it broke her down. But thank God my great auntie was there. She had money. She had money to take care of, and she realized there was some money that when my mother was getting, she had put to the side for my auntie to keep. My auntie was the human bank account. She was the human bank. So anybody, and I forgot, it was like 7 of us who lived in a 4-bedroom house. Okay, 4 adults, 3 children. There was 7 of us who lived in that 4-bedroom complex apartments, and each one of them, whether you were on welfare or you was working, each of them gave auntie some money. Now auntie paid rent, but she called it rent from each one of them. But guess what? It was a savings. So when stuff like that happened, my mother can go and dip some money out and go take care of business. You know, my uncle could go dip some money out for my auntie. She knew exactly who money it was just by the weight of the bills that she held in her hand. She had everybody's money wrapped up in a certain color rubber band. She would color code rubber bands. When my mama rubber band was red, my uncle rubber band was beige, my auntie rubber band was blue, her rubber band was green. You know what I'm saying? She knew whose money it was and how much it was in there. She'd tell you to count it. Everything she did for my brain. So shouts out to my great auntie Samela. She's with the ancestors right now, and she's with me at all times. But my mother, they thought my mother was a hustler. My mother was bold. Okay, what I mean by the hustler, she was strong. Okay, when they told her she couldn't get back on welfare for 3 months, they was trying to ask her for some money, how much money she done saved and stuff like that. Auntie told her, don't you tell them folks that you got money, and my mama didn't either. But they said because she made some money working for the complex apartments, and she was at that time $15, and that was a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Living in a complex apartments, low income housing. It wasn't no paper section there where you go anywhere you want. It was like this complex apartment where it was what it was. You know what I'm saying? It was their low income from HUD or what have you, or a Sigma. Well, my mother dipped out of the money she had. She done saved over $1,000. You know what I'm saying? And she felt like it was cool. We was already okay. We kept food in the house. So my mother didn't need much of nothing. My mother could just dip out what she could to take care of me and my brother, make sure we had some clothes and all this stuff. So when we all lived together, she made it work. Okay? So now, let's fast forward. When she finally got back on welfare, she didn't want to lay on her ass and do absolutely nothing. This trends all the way back into how black women were anyway. My mother didn't want to lay on her ass and get the welfare. She wanted to do something. She just didn't want to be subject to some old crooked shit that she had to deal with when she was with the folks that was in the church. So she and her cousins went down to the community college over in San Francisco, and they did this thing. She took a reading and math class. She wanted to better her education. What she did not know was she was going to get penalized. Matter of fact, they even sent her a letter that had me read. I used to love to read to my auntie and my mom, my grandma, and I used to love to read. Well, anyway, there was a letter that came in the mail. Seemed like somebody's always some dumb Negroes like to report black people when you see someone's doing something good. Back in the days, my grandmother had to have a boyfriend come over and climb down the fire escape. He had to escape down the fire escape if the social worker come knocking at her door over in Valencia Garden Project. Soon as they came up there in San Francisco to knock on that door, he had to climb out the window down the fire escape to escape my grandmama's boyfriend. He couldn't even be there because he's providing. If he's providing, she's going to get in trouble and getting the kids taken away. That's how the social workers work. This is what welfare do to you. I just want people to know government assistance has never been no goddamn saint and no savior to no black woman. If y'all don't believe me, watch that movie Miss Claudine, a 1974 film with James Earl Jones in it, and what's her name, the beautiful sister. Anyway, it tells you a lot. That movie tells everything, and people got to look into that kind of movie, you know. So, later on with my mom used to sneak my daddy. My daddy wasn't supposed to be around. and she couldn't, and in order for her to get welfare, she could not live with my daddy. My daddy was a postal service guy. He used to work for the post service, and then he worked for Muni. So if you think where I got my hustle from is from both my mother and my father, they refused to lay on their ass and do absolutely nothing. My father was very much into his job and doing what he got to do. You know what I'm saying? But he was out in them streets too. You know what I'm saying? Doing what he was doing, but he still was the provider. So I really appreciate my daddy to that. Shouts out to my daddy. He's with the ancestors. But my mother tried to go and read. She tried to go and read and do her math and get her education. And then one day she got something in the mail. The social worker wanted to see if she had made money going to school. And that was the most dumbest thing we ever heard of. Who will make money going to school? So it was this letter that I read right in front of cousin Auntie Jean and them. I read a letter to my mother. Said that, and we suspect that you're going to school for education. They didn't say why. It just says going to school for education. So she would be penalized or fined or going to jail. My mother heard the word jail. That was it. She quit school. Because, see, she didn't want to go to jail. She didn't want to lose her kids. None of that stuff. And then they talked. Then she said, well, fuck that. I'm going to go underground. I'm going to go see if I can make me some money on the side. I always want to be a bartender. So her and two of her friends or cousins went to go and do a bartending job. Bartending school. And my mother, she barely passed the test, but she passed. With the limited reading she knew, she barely passed the test, but she did it. And she just want to understand, what to do, how to mix drinks and what to do and how to do it. And she had so much fun. She took some money out of Auntie and got some of her money. She went to Auntie Samella's bank, got some of her money out and paid for her equipment and stuff to learn how to mix drinks and stuff. So she could provide better for us because she knew welfare wasn't doing shit for us. But once again, somebody reported it. It could have been somebody in the house. It could have been somebody who my mother was off and on with. It could have been the folks from the church. They kind of knew our business like that. If you ain't working, you got to be on welfare. That was the attitude. And my mother was basically, she was helpless. She was helpless. She had to quit the bartending job and stuff. She didn't go look for work and she didn't want to work. They were all, matter of fact, social worker was showing up at my auntie house, sitting down, trying to see who got money. My auntie was like the Sojourner Truth. She sat there like, we was want to know if Miss Jefferson had this and Miss Jackson had this. She's no. And no, you're not finna count my money and say that my money takes care of her because she got her children to take care of and she's the mama. You need to talk to the mama. And they were scared of my auntie. The focus was back on my mother. And she ended up getting the welfare and that wasn't good enough. And then she she did something she didn't want to do. Now it's filed child support against my father. And my daddy went on ahead and just paid it, but he gave us allowances. And she got in trouble for that. So she had to stop doing that. And she just said, forget it. I'm just going to forget it. It took a toll on my mother so hard that she ended up getting SSI. She did. She qualified for, she had nervous breakdowns and stuff. She just didn't want to be on this goddamn welfare. And she knew I was smart. Because when I was pregnant with my daughter, she knew I kept jobs. She was proud of me. And I told her, I cried. I told my mother, I found a daycare for my daughter, but I'm having a hard time looking for work. And I've never had a hard time looking for work in my life. I had a hard time looking for work. Every time I had job interviews, them sneaky ass bras would say, tell me a little bit about yourself. I was starting to catch on about what they were saying because every time they ask you, tell me something about yourself, and you don't tell them that you had a baby, they'll tell you about themselves. They'll tell you that they have children, that they're happy, and they live here. Maybe one day you'll live like this, and you think Becky is friendly, until you tell them you just had a baby, and then it's bingo, got the nigger. And next you know, you get a courtesy card that says, although carefully reviewing your application, it was a difficult decision, but we have chosen another candidate for the job who best fit the description of the job. And now I know it was bullshit, but that's what kept me on a depressed mode. Now, I ended up going to the EDD office in San Francisco. It was once on Otis Street. Not Otis Street, on Fell Street. I went to the unemployment office there, and back in those days, they used to have a courtesy cards full of different types of jobs, an index cards full of different types of jobs, and if your application and your resume fit what you were trying to go for, the social workers, your caseworker, your unemployment caseworker will call that particular employer and tell them who you were, and you got yourself a job. You got yourself a job there, right? Well, they took that away because found out during the census too many people were getting jobs that were black, especially single women and single mothers. Too many of us were getting jobs. Too many of us. And I remember I voted for the welfare reform and didn't even know what I was getting myself into because I didn't think I was going to be in that situation. I voted for welfare reform because I thought welfare reform was going to go ahead and train black men and women on CalWORKs or AFDC at the time to become city and county worker, because I thought that would be a good idea. That's what work. If you own CalWORKs and Cash Aid, then you're gonna go to the school and train to work for city and county. It don't matter what type of job in the city of San Francisco, you could just work for city and county of that type. And lo and behold, that wasn't the case. I mean, you not only you had your little evil ass Kamala Harris, you had Bill Clinton, his sneaky ass. We didn't even know he was evil like that. We just thought because he could play the saxophone and smoke weed, he was cool. Maybe, maybe. I was going by what a lot of people else was saying. I didn't know that man personally. So I had a hard time. I had a nervous breakdown. The first thing they said to me was, you need to get on SSI. I know what you guys fucking did to my mother. I'm not finna get on SSI. I'm gonna go and get work. And so people said, well, listen, if you get on welfare, they will put you in this class called the Welfare to Work program. Oh, you mean like the Gates program or the SAFE program or the Gaines program, where if you go and you sit there like you in special ed and you have to learn how to train and you can get you a little bit of $50 gift card to go to Target or Mervyn's or Sears to go get something for your little baby, then you'll be all right. Is that what that is? Okay, because you have to show proof that you went to those classes, because if you don't show proof you went to those classes, you got your welfare cut off. They cut your welfare off and you have to start all over again. It may take 6 to 8 weeks for you to get your first money. Even their emergency check, you will have to wait until 6 to 8 weeks. And what the hell is $580 a month going to do living in goddamn San Francisco, California? You be glad to have goddamn Section 8 the way shit goes. You see what I'm saying? They want you to live below the poverty rate because they are afraid that if you do live above the poverty rate, you can afford to buy homes, you can live in a nice area, black people are going to be coming together, and they don't want to compete with us. But it took me a while to figure that out, because when I had to take the Welfare to Work program, I didn't know that the welfare system had it where we only could do it for 5 years. And don't even think about making some money while you're getting welfare, because the program's supposed to last you for 2 years. You're supposed to have a 2-year program, find you a good job, and that's it. And then you get this damn Hershey bar with $1 on the side that says, I got some money. And they take a picture of your ass. I got a job. Yeah, you got a job. Working for where? A goddamn retail store that's going to take you away from raising your child? How come you can't get a 9-to-5 job? How come you can't get one of them part-time or full-time job? Oh, it has to be full-time. Oh, it has to be at a retail store. And and then they deduct more from you because you were on welfare. Like you're paying the city and county back, but you're really paying back white women who committed welfare fraud. Why don't you guys look that shit up? It's a struggle. There was never any indication that black women run to go get this damn welfare. And I don't want to hear nothing about, well, what about the young girls, the younger ones? They don't know any better until they get the goddamn welfare and they living with their moms. It's not a fucking enough. And they get treated like animals. You get treated like animals when you get on welfare, because when you get on welfare and you try to go to school, they want to make sure you're not trying to learn shit. They want to make sure you're not working for anything. And I'll talk about that and how we got over on that and how we did it legally and how we made Willie Brown grant that money where we can get we have a program called the CARE program, and look that shit up, C.A.R.E. the CARE programs. When those who are on CalWorks said, fuck that, I'm going to school. They were so pissed off how many black women went to school. Thanks to my sister Wendy Villman, may she rest in peace. She's with the ancestors. We went to school. We went to city college, community college. Some of us want to be nurses. Some of us want to be teachers. Some of us want to work for a daycare center. That pissed off the government. That also pissed off Kamala Harris. And I can tell you more about what the fuck she did. She did some shit that pulled the string where she ended the CARE program. Because we didn't get our last CARE money. That CARE money was like the grant of his... Oh, man. When I mean you get you some grant money, because welfare could not count that against you because you didn't pay taxes out of it. It was considered exemption, meaning the city and county of San Francisco was going against the city and county of the welfare department. And they were saying, you cannot take this from the women. They're on CalWorks because they're going to school. They got to pay rent. They got to drive to work. They got to drive to school. You couldn't even count the cars. You couldn't even count a car against them. So if Lakeisha got a car and it's a used car, you can't put that on the welfare where they calculate that and see what the depreciation value of it is, where they deduct the money or tell you that you can't have the welfare no more, right? You live off that car since you want to get your car. That's how they did black people, especially black women, because we want to go far. We didn't want to lay on our ass and do nothing. We want to go far. And they try to dumb us down, and we fought back. Right? Many of us got degrees, and that degree didn't do shit for us. You know why? Because the Social Security number, when it pops up about your low lifespan. You want to talk about your credit and about your lifespan from back then you're going to learn that when they pull up your Social Security number is going to talk about who was raising you, right? Your parents. Were your parents educated? Well, my mother had me and my brother. She wasn't that damn educated, so now they're going to make sure I stay on below the poverty rate, right? So yes, I struggled and I fought many years up until now that I'm trying to start a business for my son's clothing line. I'm trying to start a business. I'm also an entrepreneur. I know how to make money. I know how to get us rich now. But it was like all this stuff is coming to me now, and it's like, oh, I know how to do this for my people. It's just going to take some time. I got to network and I got to get to know my folks. And I'm going to make the biggest step ever. I'm about to move to Nevada because I'm looking at some of the parts of the land and I want to buy some land. And I want my people to come together and buy some land. And I guarantee you, I'm not going to scam you for nothing. Because what am I going to get out of it scamming you? Well, I need you and I need millions of you, hundreds thousands of you to come and crowd up the city. It's our turn to gentrify somebody. When we move in those cities, we want white folks to sit there and say, well, I'm moving out. I don't want to be around a whole bunch of niggers. I'm moving out. Too many of them coming here. Well, we bought this land. It's our land, and it's going to be a city. And we want some people like the NFAC, the new Black Panther movement, and all this other stuff, the Black Guerrilla Warfare. We want them all. We want them all and it's a job available. We want a 24-hour military program where they're being protected our city. And I would love to see some Bloods and Crips involved. But I digress. I was on the welfare for 5, but they cut me off for 4 years and 2 months, right? They cut me off 4 years and 2 months before my time, and I was fighting to get it. And I realized, you know what? I'm fighting to get this, and we were homeless and everything. I ended up being in a domestic violence shelter and a whole bunch of things. I've been through a lot. And I just think that I had to go through this so I can bring forth to you guys that this is some type of stuff that was already planned that they were trying to do to us is try to keep us below poverty and then get us at our throats. Because yes, it hurt the black man. If you watch Miss Claudine, that hurt the black man, that the fact that it happened to him with his wife. His wife took the welfare because they got tired of struggling. Not because she wanted to take that welfare. They were struggling together. And he got a good paying job after they divorced. Understand how that works? He got a good paying job throwing away trash, making money, throwing away trash, working for the Ecology Center. But when they were together, he couldn't even make that. He couldn't even provide for his wife and children the way a man should. That hurts a black man when they're dealing with that. And she took the welfare thinking that it was going to get, because he talks about that. She took the welfare thinking it was going to get them a little bit of a boost, and the free housing or the low income housing that they're going to get living in a Victorian place, that was going to help them out. But no, what it did is separated them. And then 4 years later, he's giving a summons to pay child support to some kids he never left. He was forced to not be around. So all this shit is propaganda, and it was already planned. And I just want to tell the people who have no children that don't be surprised if you do have kids by the one that you thought was not going to hurt you, or that you know not going to hurt you, and y'all together. And then when you have a hard time looking for work, and he has a hard time looking for work because now he just lost his job because now he a new dad. That was a plan. All that is planned. If you don't have something planned for yourself and you thinking about working for the white man or the Asian man, you might as well learn how to do nails and open up a shop and shit like that and make your money like we were doing back in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. Don't sit there and think you go work for the Bill.com and Elephant.com. Don't think you can work for people, SurveyMonkey and them. Don't think you can just go and work for them and make some money, some geeky money and stuff like that. It's not going to work. All right. What it's going to do is going to drive you where you may have to force yourself to go get welfare if you ain't already set yourself up to make some money. Right. What it's going to do is you get on this welfare, they're going to try to make you file child support against the man you're with. And if you don't do that, they're not going to give you welfare. You see how that shit worked? Now, if you was Chinese, you had to be married in order to get full benefits of welfare. If you're not married to your Chinese husband, or you left the Chinese husband because he's beating your ass, Ling Ling, then you're not going to get welfare. See how shit works? They do this shit. I used to help people like that. Vietnamese, Korean, Chinese, some of them have an abusive ass husband, and when they got out of the abusive relationship, the welfare stopped too. See? But black women, the all opposite. You together, the welfare ain't gonna come because y'all together. Y'all can take care of each other. But if y'all separate, the welfare gonna come. And on top of that, they gonna try to make you file child support. Back in the day, you could say that's against your religion and that's against your belief. And then it used to be, if you told the goddamn social worker, I'm not finna file child support against my son's father or my daughter's father, because they always come through and make sure my babies are set. They always take care of the baby. Okay, well, you're going to get a letter saying that you was denied welfare because you're already been taken care of. They're going to make him say, and that's why the black man ended up talking about, I'm not giving no motherfucking black woman no money. None of what you think, I'm a sucker. I ain't no simp. That's not being a simp, bruh. If you trying to step up and take care of your lady and you tell her what you want. There's nothing wrong with you saying, baby, I don't mind providing for you and my baby, but you got to help provide. I'm not finna live off the system. I need us to come up together. What you want to do? And I guarantee you, she love your ass so much, she's going to do what you want her to do as far as making some money, right? She going to school. If you want her to go to school and get that goddamn financial aid and pass them tests, help her do that. Support her while she go do that. After she, and even when she busts a baby out for you or two. Baby, I can't be in the house not making no money, baby. What we gonna do? Cause I'm making some money, but it can't be one-sided. What you want me to do, baby? I got you. She should be able to do that. She should be able to say, baby, I gotta hook up. Or baby, if you work and I work and we put this much money together and we get this and this, now I'm learning. Family members, y'all should go get life insurance. Papa Duck put us on. I didn't even know life insurance got down like that. Both of y'all should get life insurance together so y'all can retire within 10 years. For real. I'm for real. I just want to clarify, government assistance is nothing more than a jail cell. Okay, a probation officer type of shit, parole. Okay, she got to report to a class to learn how to work. Some bullshit, disrespectful shit too, that they don't do to white women. I'm just telling y'all right now, y'all. Don't go around talking about that we living off of the government assistance, because we're not living at all. What is $6,000 a year? That ain't shit. What is $6,000 a year? Okay? If we wasn't living off of Section 8 or on low-income housing, we would have been doomed. Shelter to shelter to shelter, out in the streets. And if you was where Kamala Harris was, you wouldn't have no kids, because she just took it all away from you. And you wouldn't get no goddamn welfare because you got arrested. Because your child didn't go to daycare. Your child didn't go to school. Your child missed school. Your child was at the doctor's office. That ain't good enough. You got to go back to school afterwards. You couldn't do that? Okay, we got to take your kids from you. That's the district attorney law. So you guys think about that. And I know I've been rambling and stuff, but I just wanted to get that on out, because I need you guys to understand the government assistance, all it's doing is dividing us. People who's making judgments and who have no children. Don't do that. Don't do that. Learn first. Learn. My next video is going to be about, and I'm not going to be long on this one. The next video is going to be about mothers and what happened 20 years ago when moms was just depressed and gave their children up for a minute to the relatives, or they had an anxiety where they could not be around other families with their baby. They didn't want their baby around a whole bunch of people looking at them or touching their baby and none of that stuff. I was the anxiety woman. And I'll tell you why that is. All the way up until now, where you had a lot of black women, some of them were crying for help before they killed their kids, and they turned around and they killed their kids. And you had a lot of brothers calling these sisters all kinds of skanks and stuff, when there's something deeper than that happened to her during her pregnancy that she did not know about. We were following protocol we did not know. What I did with my daughter when I was pregnant, I didn't do with my son. I want y'all to know that. Brothers, when you got a woman pregnant, please watch them motherfucking nurses. They're sneaky as fuck. Do not let your lady take any kind of vaccines. Nuh-uh. They can take some blood from her, but they can't take no vaccines. Okay? And until we do some real studies about that, well, we gonna tell them, no, you can't take no blood from me neither. Don't let them trick her into injecting her with shit. Because that type of shit causes black women to do shit like wanting to kill their kids, right? Because when all them drugs that they pumped in our babies, our mothers during the pregnancy, and the amniocentesis and all that shit, what that does, it causes her to be a whole different type of person where you can't even deal with her. And you want to deal with her. Don't ever say you don't want to deal with your baby mamas. You do want to deal with her. That's your baby coming in the world. She's carrying your baby. You got to be there for her and that baby. That baby need you and her. Because sometimes she's mentally not ready after she had the baby, because she went and took all them damn shots. She took all those damn shots. They pumped shit up in her. I'm going to talk to you guys about that. I'm going to tell you exactly how they do it and what they do and what to do when they tell you that. They always want to make it seem like it's doctor's protocol and we just caring for the baby. No, they're experimenting on black mamas. So, fathers, we need you there. When she got to go to her prenatal care, baby, go. Go with her. Go. Because I guarantee when you there, they're not going to try that bullshit with you there. Nah, because you a black man. You ain't finna put up with that shit. Right? So, no, I love you guys to death. Sorry, family, for really taking my time talking about this. But the government assisted thing, it's a lot going on. I had to kind of break some things down to let you know exactly what the government assisted does to people. My mother, it affected my mother. It made me stronger. My mom told me she knew what I was about. Going to get on that welfare and then find a job. Baby, you ain't got to be on it for a long time. Don't go through what I go through. And if you need my help and you need me to go talk to them people, I'll be there for you. That's how my mama was. But I didn't need my mom. I figured, I did the welfare reform. It was my fault. I helped put my sisters in the slumber because I thought that was going to help us get a city and county job. And I didn't read the legislative right. I didn't know that Bill Clinton had that shit against us. But I love y'all. I'm going to tell you guys goodbye. 39 minutes.